Hi, this is Tony at Casa Esmeralda, and tonight we are cooking. Yes, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm going to make a nice apricot orange glazed Christmas cake, which will knock your socks off. I haven't made a cake in a year, but this is a no-fail recipe, and it goes by very simple rules, so just watch the video and I will show you how to make an apricot orange glazed cake or with any other fruit. Thank you for those who like my channel. Hit that like button. Please do like and subscribe, and let's get on with this video on how to make a proper Christmas cake. Okay, here we go. So, very nice Christmas dinner tonight. What I'm gonna need is some very good white flour, possibly some good type O baking flour. Type O is better, but right now I only have type O. It doesn't matter. It's still good. It's gonna be a little bit bready, but it'll be a nice Christmas cake. Okay, so you want to get something with like a seed or something like that to get all the lumps out. Okay, anything that's a seed works really good and that's dry. So you want to get all same measurements. Okay, so I'm getting one big cup like this. So get your favorite coffee cup, your favorite big coffee cup, add that. And you want to sift it. I just put a fire on, so it's getting very warm in here right now, even though I'm in my winter jumper. But it's all good. It'll run through the night. Just lit a nice big fire. Had a very nice dinner today. So we're just gonna sift this. Get this all going in. Boy, is it windy out. It's getting stormy out. It was a very nice day. A little bit of a spillage here on the side. That's okay. You're going to need that. So I get about, depends on how big your pan is. I got a 24 centimeter pan, so I want to add a little bit more flour to that. I want to get a nice good consistency here. So you want to get about half a pan, because the other half is going to rise, right? So you want to get half a pan of cake batter. So, and this is the first time I'm cooking in that pan, so the first time is always a little bit permissible, not to be so much, because you get a new pan, you gotta try it out, right? That's the whole point of getting new cooking stuff. As long as there's no lumps in there, then we're okay. So, that's good. That looks pretty good there. I'm pretty happy with the amount of flour I got there to work with. And if you don't have baking soda, you can use some yeast, some brewer's yeast, some live yeast, and that actually works better. I use live yeast when I bake my breads. And today I'm just going to go through the baking aisle of the supermarket, and I'm just going to get everything that I need to bake a cake and get it done and over with, basically. Okay, so I got a package of some Maestro Forno. And this is 7 grams of yeast. It's probably a little too much. I'm going to try it. Okay, so there we go. So you want to weigh everything out. So you can put this in the baking pan for now. Give it a little stir around, because you're going to need to make the eggs in here. Okay, so there we go. You just need another baking, I don't have another baking bowl, I live very simple. So I'm just going to use the baking pan. And I have my sifted flour here. And then I'm going to try it out for size and see how much. So if I'm just under halfway, and then I add a little bit of water to that, then I'm pretty good, I think. Yeah. This is big, because it's just me, right? So, okay, that's pretty good. So I tested out the pan. I think I got the right amount of flour that I'm going to use, and I figure if there's a little bit of liquid to that, it's going to work. Okay, so put that there. Then we want to get some butter in this order. Yes, in this order, because this works well. And today I'm using some Santa Lucia Burro Classico, which is this one. I think this is of the buffalo butter, which is really nice. It comes from buffalo cows. They're buffaloes. In Italy we have buffaloes here. So this is of the buffalo butter, and this is a very creamy, rich type of butter. It's very good. It's very good for baking. So you want to go in the store and you want to find a very creamy and rich type of butter. You don't want to use a margarine or something like that. Margarine's not very good for baking. You can, if you know the secrets of baking, but I've always used butter. So a very well-renowned chef showed me how to bake a cake. So I want to take about half of this. So I'm going to take about half of the butter, okay, like that. and I want to cut it up into little slices like that. So I'm not using any machinery here. I live out in the countryside. I live very simple. If you do have the proper mixers, the stab mixers, or you have the proper, you have a food processor, then go ahead and use it. Okay, so there we go. I added a little bit more, so maybe I'm just going to use a little bit over half a brick of butter here. And you can weigh it. So if you have a scale, then weigh out your equal amounts of butter, sugar, and flour. That's the key thing. If you're always weighing out the equal amounts of butter, sugar, and flour, you're going to end up with a very nice cake. Okay, so we got this here. Now we need the sugar, and I'm just using a regular brown. If you have brown sugar works better. Okay, so I'm going to add to this the same amount as I did the butter, the same size. Or about the same weight as the butter. And I'm going to eyeball it, and I'll probably be within, and the more accurate you can get, I actually do have an old scale here, but it's in kilograms and half sizes. Okay, so there, I think that's about good right there. Okay, so right about there, you're going to put that in. Then you can get a fork, but if you have a food processor, you can get your food processor going. And you want to blend the sugar and the butter together. So you're going to get something that looks like this. Can you see that? Okay. Be patient. Baking is something you have to be patient with, because if you lose your mind in the kitchen, well, something's going to happen. And be attentive too, right? So you don't screw up the cake when it goes in the oven. So I'm just mashing this down with a fork. And just by mashing it, you can see it get very creamy. Or stroking it. As I'm doing like strokes, and that works good, and you will get the same creamy consistency as you would with a regular food processor. It may take a little bit more time, but all you want to do is you want to get the butter and the sugar together, right? So I'm just doing some back strokes here on the fork. Boy, that fireplace is rocking. Okay, and then you want to get fresh eggs. And this is the thing, if you have chickens like I do, you can get them to make you eggs. This is very nice, see? I got all these eggs here. So I'm going to use 4 eggs of these ones. So 1, 2, 3, 1 medium size. But normally you get about 4 medium size eggs will do it. So it's actually like 1 small and 1 extra large. So 3 extra large and 1 small. That's okay. And you want to wash the eggs now. I'm going to wash them. To wash the coating off. I want to wash the special preservative coating that the chicken makes on the egg. See, when chickens lay their egg, they have a special preservative coating. And you can keep these eggs in a safe, this is my safe spot up there. It's kind of cool to the ceiling. I don't have insulation in my house. So I can keep these eggs for about 2 to 3 weeks. Not in a refrigerator, but up there in the corner. I find the safe spot, and I found that spot is very good. And I wash the coating off. The eggs that come in the supermarket, the coating has already been washed off. So they're only good for like a week on the shelf, and then they have to throw them out. That's the reason why. So you want to add 1 egg at a time, okay? You don't want to, and sometimes if it's a recipe where you have to separate the yolks and things like that, then go ahead and do that. So you add 1 egg at a time. And get the egg in there. So I'm just pulling back on the fork here. And this is great because like if you have a cabin or something like that, you don't have like all equipment and you wanna bake a cake at a cabin or something like that. This is one way of doing it, right? As for me, same thing. Like I live out in the countryside in a hut house in a what they call like a finca here. So I blended that together. So there's 1 egg. There is the second one. I'm going to save them. I'm going to save the eggshells for the dogs because they love this. It's very high in calcium and they eat the eggshells. And then when you get sort of stirring, you want to add the 3rd egg. So you don't really want to make butter when you're, this is the thing, you don't want to over whip it so that you're making butter or something like that. You just want it to look very creamy. Now you can add actually 3. I'm going to do 4 in this recipe because I want a nice floof style of cake. If you want it more bready style of a cake, then maybe just add 1. So the eggs and the heat are what make the cake. You know, like if you want to go from bread to sort of like a muesli bread or banana bread or you want to go to a floof cake, or you just want a cake. It all depends on how many eggs you're going to add. So I want sort of a floof style of cake, a Christmas cake, and then this is what's going to happen here. And then I want to see how many grams of vanilla. If you have pure vanilla extract, use it. This is the first time I'm using this product. It's 1 gram of vanilla. So you can actually add up to about 3 grams of vanilla. So there's 1. There's 2. And there is 3. I'm gonna have to bake some cookies now. Okay. So that's all good. Into the garbage that goes. Into the fridge. This goes for tomorrow for the dogs. Give that a stir. We're kind of just work that in, but remember not to over stir because you don't want to make butter here, right? So now we got okay, so now we got our sifted flour, and we're going to lightly add the sifted flour to, and I'm hoping, because this is one of these, I'm going to lightly add the sifted flour to the cake mix. And we're going to lightly add it in and stir and fold. Not all at one time. Because if you add too much flour, you want to see what it's looking like, right? If you add too much flour, then you're going to end up with something that's very stiff and something that you don't want. You want something that is light and fluffy on the drop. So there we go. like that. Okay, so we just take a little bit of flour from the top here and we lightly flour the outside and inside of the cake dish, and then we also get some butter. And if I had the right temperature in my fireplace, I could actually bake this in the fireplace, which I'm really stoked about doing because I cook on that fireplace when I do have the right temperature. But since I just started this, if I would wait about an hour's time and it's getting close to midnight, I want to get this in the oven and have a nice Christmas cake when Christmas comes. Okay, so I'm going to butter the pan. That can go away. And I just want, because I'm in the Mediterranean, Adriatic, Ionian area, I want to add a little bit of my own extra virgin olive oil. Okay? A little bit of olive oil around here does not hurt anything. And if you have some milk, add a little touch of milk because that will help it. Next year I will have goat's milk because Pippi and Ziggy, they're doing the birds and bees every day now. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least 2 baby kids next year. So I will have milk all year long next year, sometime in the spring. Okay, now I want to get some apricots from my backyard that I canned in June. This is where all the canning comes in because winter time, kind of the evening comes around and there are stormy days and that, so you do have the time to do the baking. Let's see if I can pop this. Yeah. There we go. Of the apricots. So you want to take, these are, and make sure that you get the pits out. And if there's like a bay leaf or something like that. Five. Six. You need at least a dozen whole apricots for this. 7. I got Seppi here. He's looking at me. I'm baking a cake. So he's never seen me bake a cake. Only once a year I break my own schedule. 9. Gotta concentrate here. 10. 11. He's kind of under the weather, actually. He was not feeling good this morning. But he's hanging in there. He doesn't need a vet now or anything. So he's kind of just taking it easy tonight. Aren't you, Seppi? So there we go. So we want to get that on the drop. So we want to keep folding. And the apricot juices, this is the thing, is that if you had a little less flour or anything, and I sorted it out, and after so many years of doing this type of cake, after a chef showed me this like 10 years ago, I found that the apricot juices get the cake batter to the right consistency. So when you're mixing it up before, don't worry about it, because the outcome is with the apricot juices, you're going to get this dead on the drop. And then that's what you want. See? See? Look at that, eh? You don't want it running like cake batter. You don't want it hanging there like stiff dough bread or something like that. It's perfect. I'm going to come over here a little bit. Now, because there's the package of yeast in there, you have two options. You can put it off to the side a bit, but I'm not going to do that today. And you probably get a little bit more higher rise out of the cake. I got a little box heater because I'm on solar power here, and that's always good. I've had really good success with my box heater and the solar power and baking nice breads on that now in the last couple of months here, so that's good. But I'm just going to put this in the gas oven. And or if I put this in the fireplace, it would absolutely be just blown up, and if I had the right temperature and heat and everything, it would cook fine. It would just cook like a normal traditional style, Mediterranean traditional style cake. So we're going to turn the gas on. Turn the gas on here on the gas oven. Now you got to know your oven, right? I would say about 175 degrees Celsius. I don't have settings for degrees Celsius in my oven, so I just know my oven, and that if I put the rack too low and I put the rack too high, then my breads and everything burn. So, and if my heat is high, and this is gas, so I just put it on the lowest setting I can. See that? See that? That is cake batter from a professional chef, okay? So I want to share it with you. And always use the right ingredients. And the apricot, the fruit juices, if you're using a canned jar or something, right? And or you want to add a little bit more egg, you want to add a little bit more liquid to it, like some milk, that would be good. But since I don't have the milk, I'm just going to go straight fire away at it like this. Okay, so my pan is buttered, and into the cake mold it goes. You can use any fruit you want. You can use canned apples. You can use canned plums. It doesn't have to be apricots, you know. So that's the thing. Just give it a little taste test after, just to make sure that everything is perfectly right. This is a cake. If you have visitors or whatever for Christmas, you don't want to mess this up, right? Perfect. The vanilla, the apricot, the brown sugar, the farm fresh eggs, and the type O flour. Absolutely lovely. Then give it a good thump. So if you had any air bubbles in it or anything like that, you're using the mixer and you get air bubbles in it, this is the time to get those air bubbles out. So give it a good couple of pounds. I got a wood countertop. You may want to use the floor or something. That's up to you. Okay? See how that nicely smooths out so you do not get a lopsided cake. And this is the thing I've seen people, you know, like, why do I get that lopsided cake? Why is it lopsided? Because you didn't knock it on something, right? So you really want to level this out. Okay, that's pretty good. So when it's nice and level, and it's not lopsided or anything like that, and you've got all the air bubbles out, into the oven it goes. My oven, I let it go a little bit, so I turn on the gas. I turn up the gas for about 8 or 9 minutes, for about 5 to 8 minutes, and I give it a little check. I don't open up the door, I just kind of shine a flashlight in there. And this, depending on the oven. It could be ready in 35 minutes and it could be ready in 45 minutes, but no more than 50 minutes. It depends if you're just on the slow bake. Okay? There's the next video is part 2 coming up, and that is the orange glaze. And I'm going to do that when I bring the cake out. So stay tuned for that. Okay. So this is Tony at Casa Esmeralda. If you like my videos, please do like and subscribe. Hit that like button below. Wish you a holly jolly Christmas. All the best, a good tidings. If you do not have time to see my other video, this part, but you can always look for a recipe to make an orange glaze. I'm going to be doing orange glaze in the next video with navels, with these European mandarins, and then also there will be the imported. I have some trees in my property that are the imported mandarins. So orange glaze next when the cake comes out in the oven. It'll be really nice to take a look at. Very simple thing to do. Okay, so take care. Bye for now. Wish you all the best. And please do subscribe. Thank you.